Hi, hello, and welcome to episode 50 of this podcast. 50 episodes in, who would have thought? I certainly didn't. But here we are. Thanks for being here, whether it's your first one you're listening or the 50th, which makes you a true OG. I actually got a few reviews on Spotify after the previous episode, so I don't know who you are out there, but thanks for showing your support. By rating the show on Spotify, I really appreciate every one of you who made it in. So this is episode 50 of yet another Expat, a podcast where I bring thoughts, news, and a lot of random wiki knowledge, usually around STEM fields of sciences or what's going on in the world. Sometimes there's more storytelling, sometimes there's more articles, sometimes there's more joy and jokes, and other times more of the what are we even doing here? Here's what I've gathered for you in the week in the form of random scribbles and notes. Number one is just a general ask out there to people. Can you please stop cleaning your houses when other people visit? Because here's what happens. If I visit your place and it's a spotless place, I say, hey, can I go to pee? And they say, yes, go. This is the time we're prepared for. This is why we shined everything in the bathroom. And I'm inside that bathroom and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I should sit down in the toilet. I should not risk anything. The place is shining. It's spotless. It looks like it's not being used. It looks like a photo studio. And I can tell that the people are very proud to have made the place look so good. But here's the problem. When you do that to me, then whenever you visit, it's now my turn. I cannot have my normal place up the way I do when you're visiting. If you gave an extra show of cleanliness, I need to match that. I need to at least match that. So that makes it to be my turn. And then you get to see my place spotless. And then it's just this vicious cycle of people really cleaning their houses a lot when other people visit. And I think it's time to break that cycle. I don't know if it's the baby life speaking in me. I don't know if it's my back that hurts in 15 different spots or my clothes that probably have baby milk somewhere. I don't know if it's all of that. But I do think it's time to break the cycle. And I'm sure you have people which, when they visit, you don't need to even get the dirty clothes out of that chair because those clothes are not dirty. They've been worn once and they need to live somewhere and they have no place to live other than that chair. So when you don't need to do these things, those are real friends. And of course, it's nice to make your place look nice so you feel good and all of that. But what's even better is just to not have to do things that don't need doing. So thank you very much. Please, if you know me, if I'm visiting you, please don't clean your house. Give it all to me. I'm ready. I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to look. I will hug you with compassion and love for giving me the raw version of yourself. The intimacy we will build. It's like, how do they say in relationships you need to open with vulnerability? Is there more vulnerability than showing the real mess that your place can be? So let's start bringing our authentic places out there. Let's break the cycle. I'm ready for it. Come see how I live. My second mini rant, and I know that you've probably heard this before, there are two sides on what I'm about to say, and you're either on one side or the other, or you never thought about it, in which case I am judging you silently inside, because for some things you just need to stand somewhere. So all these things you keep in the fridge, like the Philadelphia cream cheese or whatever it has first, a lid, a plastic lid, and then it has this tinfoil. It has this tinfoil that some people, for unknown reasons, just don't fully put it out. They just like to keep the tinfoil on. Who leaves the Philadelphia tinfoil on? Who are those people and why do they do it? Don't you see that tinfoil? It has that grip for your hand, so you can peel it off. If it wanted you to put it on and off all the time, it would be a different construction. So I'm sorry, there it is. I said it. Same goes with butter, same goes with other spreads. Anything that has this foil seal that you pull off, it's meant to be fully pulled off. There is a plastic lid on top, and that is designed to keep the cheese fresh after opening, so there is no reason to leave the foil on. If anything, that foil makes it look more disgusting, doesn't add a layer of protection, it honestly just gets in the way. I bet the people who don't remove the tinfoil are the same people who buy things with the plastic seal on and they keep it. Do you remember back in the day when you buy electronics or a new appliance and you need to peel off a very thin layer of plastic? Some people never remove it and say, oh, in this way it will not get scratched. Like you buy a car and it has a touchscreen and you just leave that thin layer of plastic on, and after some time the air is in there, so you're pressing and you can see the bubbles. Just remove all the plastic. The only protective plastic allowed is the extra hardening ones for phone screens. That's because we drop our phones all the time. You don't drop your microwave on the ground. You don't need that plastic layer that exists from the factory still there. Anyway, I'm complaining here for no reason. If you see someone having an electric appliance with that thin layer of plastic still on, it's very satisfying to take it off as well. Like, it's extremely satisfying to peel it off. It's one of the beauties of buying things new instead of used. But whether it's yogurt, Philadelphia, or any type of brand of spread, if it has a plastic lid on, for the love of God, just throw the tinfoil away or put it on your head. Now, I know I started with mini complaining and I will stay on that topic. I'll take a small turn into the baby world. The topic is farts. Farts are evil because they trap themselves inside the baby like ticking bombs. If the baby has got some air while breastfeeding or with the bottle, you know it's coming. You can try to get the air out, but you can never do it all. You don't know when they will come, but they will. And when they do, the baby screams like crazy. It's uncomfortable. So this is a topic. You can call them farts. You can call it gas. The gas needs to be moved through. So I started trying to find ways to help the baby regulate that. And I realized this. In the world of beautification of every topic around the baby, do you know how they call them? Okay, I understand that they don't call them baby farts. Maybe that sounds too disgusting or not so appealing. You can very well call it gas. It is gas. You can call it air bubbles. Okay, silly, but still kind of true. So I realized that they call it wind. Trapped wind. This is real. This is how it's mentioned on Reddit, in the forums, in the places where these things get discussed. They call it trapped wind. Who calls it wind? Why would you call a baby fart trapped wind? The wind is a nice thing. I have associations of a nice breeze, of leaves being taken by the wind, of Pocahontas running in the forests, and things like this. Just call it what it is. You can call it gas, you can call it a fart, you can call it air, but wind? My baby has trapped wind. That sounds like the start of a quest in The Witcher or in Zelda. Help my baby get the trapped wind away. And if you go that far into the elements, why go with wind? You could make it a bit more accurate. You could call it a thunderstorm. There is a trapped thunderstorm in my baby because seriously, it's loud, it's annoying, and comes in a flash. Like there's nothing in the beauty of wind that fits in a screaming baby that's trying to push something out and a desperate parent trying to do all the shiatsu, jiu-jitsu massage techniques to bring it out. And when it comes out, it's always like a thunder. Sometimes it even makes the baby open its eyes and be like, what just happened? Have you seen when a dog farts and gets confused? It doesn't know, it just produced that sound. This is how it is with the baby. So my third advice to the world, don't call it trapped wind. This is ridiculous. Let's be fair, let's be honest, let's be brave in the same way that you don't need to clean your entire house before someone enters. In the same manner, you can just call the baby farts baby farts. Now, something that I liked and saw was the news topic about Greek statues. If you don't know, Greek actually painted. Back in the day, they were not this white marbly situation that is what's left of them. They were painted in very vivid colors with a lot of red hair and decorations in their clothing. Unfortunately, because of the millennia, all the dyes have been washed away. This is why we have the stripped down version of them. In the Athens New Acropolis Museum, the Parthenon Museum, there is actually a restored statue of how it was believed that it would be with the full colors. You can see sometimes a bit of red dye residue in some of the statues. But this is something very difficult for the mind to wrap around, that all of these things that look white, the temples and the statues, were actually very colorful back in the day. It's something that the Assassin's Creed game displayed quite well, I have to say. A few years ago, I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Very enjoyable. If you haven't jumped from the Alexandria lighthouse, you have seen nothing. But here's the new piece of news, that they were not only painted, the statues, they were also perfumed. Researchers have uncovered that ancient Greek statues were not just painted and dressed, they were also perfumed. They say that the statues were covered in fragrance. So, yes, the statues had perfumes. They also had textiles on them. Sometimes they had jewelry on them. All of this is reinforcing the idea that these sculptures, particularly those depicting gods, were treated as sacred figures. The Greek historian Pausanias described how the statue of Zeus at Olympia was regularly anointed with olive oil to protect the ivory because the climate was very humid. And I just like that idea because it's nice to think that the statues engaged multiple senses. It must have been quite an immersive experience to be around temples, and the statues is, you look at it, you touch it, you smell it, so why not? I think it makes total sense. I'm actually surprised they hadn't realized earlier. So if you didn't know, now you know. The Greek statues were sprayed on with fragrances. But do you know what's close to being a statue? Is me, my back. It hurts. I stand stiff all the time. I carry the baby around, and the baby is not even heavy. I cannot understand. I meet some parents, and their babies, when I did not have a baby, all babies looked the same. Whether they were a few months old to 1 or 2 years, they are all these little humans. Right now, where my baby is 1 month old, when I see some babies that are 1 year old, they look like giants. They look huge, but still babies. It's a very creepy thing. But now I have my own measure of comparison. I have my own banana for scale, and every other baby just looks much bigger, which makes it creepy. But the thing that I cannot wrap my head around is parents still carry the babies, and the babies weigh 8, 9, 10, 12, 11, 13 kilos. My back just hurts by hearing this. And if you have been following this podcast, I have some back problems. I had a herniated disc a few years ago. I've done Pilates, I've lost weight. I try to make myself ready for this, but there are days where it's quite annoying. And this is why my lovely girlfriend gifted me a massage for my birthday, which is a great idea. We needed to make sure that the timing can work because we are on time shifts around the baby. I gave it a go, and I thought, okay, Urbis, remember, you need to be a decent human being. Make sure you have a good shower, clean clothes, because I live the baby life now. Everything is everywhere all of the time. So I do that, and I do a shower, which is the noble thing to do. And I get there. And this was a deep tissue massage. For those who don't know, the deep tissue massage is the one where you are afraid you will become paralyzed. The deep tissue massage is the one where you test your trust in people. When things started happening, it felt like my back was the Arctic Sea, just frozen and cold. Then somehow this person was diving deep inside and finding these icebergs and moving them around. He would find all these locked points, and I could never imagine that the back has so much depth. But I think there are hidden layers of muscle groups that are below each other, and I have never felt this type of pain. I read the reviews before I went there, and the reviews painted a very clear picture, 5 stars all the way, but they said it was very painful the first days, but then I felt like a different person. So I was ready for some of that, but one thing I wasn't ready for was Lei. And Lei, I thought it was going to be a girl. Not that it matters, but this is what I had set up in my mind. And Lei was actually written Leigh. And Lei was a dude. The funny thing is that I thought he's a girl, but he thought I'm a girl as well, because my girlfriend had booked this in her name. So that was a very interesting encounter where I see him and I'm like, oh, you are Lei. And he's like, yeah, and you are. I'm like, yeah, I'm the guy my girlfriend booked it. It's like, yeah, cool. Okay. But we got along really well, better than I would expect. I'm a very ticklish person. I don't know if I wasn't held enough as a baby or if I wasn't tickled enough as a baby. This guy believed that what is hiding sometimes under ticklish is muscle groups that are trapped and need to be put out there. This was his whole philosophy, basically. He was like this adventurer, this hunter that is trying to find the hidden muscle groups that have suffered from some sort of shock or trauma. They're hiding in a basement. They're hiding in the trunk of a tree, and he wants to go there and lure them out and then start pushing them away. It was a very intense experience. It was a multi-level experience going in there. It definitely tested my trust in people. Let me just tell you, at some point, I told him, okay, can we establish a safe word? Because the pain would go into such levels where I would be making a lot of pain sounds, but I was still interested to see how far it can go. So I told him, okay, let's make a safe word. What should it be? And he says, how about stop? I'm like, yeah, this sounds like a very good safe word. Then we needed to establish a second safe word that basically means, I asked him, we need one more word because sometimes it's not that I want you to stop. It's just don't increase what you're doing. If you can just do a little bit less. And I said, okay, how about the safe word then is less? And I'm like, okay, I can see who has the brains here. It's definitely not me. So less means less and stop means stop. And no matter what else I say, you just keep on going. Don't mind the sounds I'm making. So there I was. You know, the Odyssey has a lot of fucked up stories that I'm sure you will all get to know very soon, because Nolan is shooting the Odyssey and it will be out there next summer. I'm super excited about that, because it's like watching The Hangover just back in ancient Greece compared with a lot of LSD and some superhero stuff. But there was one where Odysseus, being all badass, the ship needs to go through a place where it has these creatures that sing. They look like mermaids. They're beautiful. They sing the most luring songs and you want to go to them, but then they are monsters and they eat you alive. So what they did is that every single one of the people in the boat put wax in their ears. They basically put earplugs so they don't hear the calling. But Odysseus was like, I'm too cool for that. I need to make some content. I want you to tie me on the deck and tie me tight with many ropes so I cannot go, but leave my ears open so I get to hear the screams and suffer, but I will still make the journey. This is what I told the dude. No matter what sounds you hear, don't stop. Keep it going. But I had a deep tissue massage. It was traumatic. The guy also had some hot stones. So after he would do one side and everything would be in pain, he would park some hot stones on there to kind of keep things warm while he worked on other things. And I remember him after some crazy moves of suffering. I think he was using his elbow most of the time. He really knew what he was doing. I have to give him that. And this is why I explored my limits. I remember trying to breathe from all the pain, and sometimes the nerves, they do things in the front. I remember there was one point that he activated and I felt my entire gut and my stomach just clench. And I was like, hey, stop that one, buddy. That's dangerous stuff. Don't start using all my shortcuts. It was like he did a Control-Alt-Delete on me and opened the task manager from that nerve. He touched it on my back and my front got a spasm. I remember him at some point finishing something extremely painful and asking me, does it feel better now? And I thought, what a biased question. Of course it does. You stopped hurting me. I will only know if it really feels better after some days. Right now, I'm just relieved I don't have to be in pain. But we had a really good time. And part of that was because he spoke perfect English, which made me curious. At some point, I just told him, your English is extraordinary. I had such a good time. And he said, I'm British, so I will take this as a compliment, which was quite indicative of the stupidity we had around in our joking. All in all, good. I was good for a week, but not broken again. So I either need to get a subscription to the painful deep tissue massage guy or to start stretching a bit more. Oh, the last thing I didn't tell you about this beautiful encounter was that I showered and I had clean clothes and I went there. I was a few minutes late, no more than 5. But what I forgot was to brush my teeth. And as I was biting there, I thought a little bit about it. I then forgot about it again. But on that day, I actually had a durum and I asked for extra Knoblauch sauce, that's garlic. So my breath was death. Most of my time I was in my back and there was this hole for the face, so I would be facing down. And at some point I just realized and I tell him, oh, dude, by the way, are you going to also turn me around at some point? Which might have sounded like a weird question. He said like, yeah. I said, okay, listen, I actually had a very heavy garlic durum and I don't think you're going to enjoy this. So please be honest with me. I can wear a mask. Do you have something? And he said, oh, I have a mint. I was like, oh, that's perfect. He's like, okay, I'll give you a mint. And then I say, 2 mints. And he says, okay, I can give you 3 mints. To which I said, well, I don't want to take all of your mints. Every one of these lines was it between silence and pain. And then he said, it will be the first time where I'm not the one having the mint. It's usually me that gets the mint. I don't usually have clients who ask for a mint. To which I said, would you like if more clients had asked for a mint? And he got to think about it a bit. And he said, actually, yes. Because I said, I expressed the problem myself, so you could offer me the mint, but I don't think everyone does it. So this is how I had 2 big mints and he got to suffer less. In that session, I should be the one who suffers. But our time is almost up, so I will quickly hit you now with the rest of the things I wanted, just in faster speed, because I know you don't like listening for things way too long, but I want to share and I don't want to edit forever. So in quick succession, here are a few more things. 1. A British student sold her virginity in an auction for 1.9 million euros. She said, I have no regrets for it. She is 20 years old and she realized, I don't want to live a life with struggle. What do I have? What can I sell? And her virginity was what she decided to put on the line, and it worked wonders. There were 3 buyers, an actor from LA, someone from a rich oil country, and a politician from England. Those were the highest bidders. But I have to say, hats off to this move. I wish I could give my virginity for 1.9 million euros. It's not gonna make everything for life. Maybe it does, but it's an amazing head start. You're 22. I was thinking how to get my degree. I was thinking, how can I learn the computational mathematics required to pass this bloody exam in the informatics university so I could one day go out in 2010 Greece in the midst of the crisis and work 5 different jobs as a freelancer just to be able to pay my bills at the end of the month. So hats off and respect. You play your cards when you have them. 1.9 million euros for the bidding. She used a very well-established agency for escorts. She just made it a thing. She also said that she was born in a very strict family with a religious background and that she never wanted to be single and broke. So she thought that selling her virginity was an easy solution. Sharing this backstory as well from the strict family and the religious background probably adds a bit to the value, but hats off to her. She didn't want to be single and broke, and she's not. I know these things can be a sensitive topic for some, but I see nothing wrong here. I see an adult person making their own life choices, hurting no one, and walking out with 1.9 million. So if you have a problem with this piece of news, you're probably sad you didn't think about it in time like I am. Boom, 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 more piece of news. There is a German startup that has thought of something that exists a few decades. Cryogenics. They can freeze your body and try to wake you up in the future for 200,000 euros. So maybe this is the part of the podcast where I bring business ideas to you. If your virginity is out of the window, but you have a few cryogenic capsules, maybe this one is for you. But there is seriously this company. They offer cryopreservation services. You pay 200K. But here's the thing. They don't say that you will get to live forever. They just say, we promise to keep you frozen and safe. Until when? We don't know. Until science can bring you back to life. And we have no part in how that will be done. We just have the freezers. We just do the freezing part, and you can trust us that we will keep you frozen until something changes. Basically, what they're selling is the hope on future technology. It's Europe's first cryopreservation startup. It's called Tomorrow Bio. They freeze bodies in liquid nitrogen, hoping that future technology can revive you. Liquid nitrogen is a colorless and tasteless gas that has a freezing point of minus 210 Celsius. That's close to absolute zero. And if you think that this is not going well, there are 650 people that have signed up. 200K, 650 people. Do the math. This is genius. And 6 people are already undergoing the preservation process, but only 6 people, also 5 pets. And I have a lot of questions here, but my guess is that these 6 people that went in are rich enough that they put their pets as well. Because I cannot imagine that someone says, okay, I don't have 200K, I have 40. Can you just freeze my dog? Okay, and then who will revive it? I don't know. Just freeze my dog. Maybe someone in the future wants it. So 6 people and 5 pets. Maybe there is a combo. 200K, but you get your pet frozen with you for free. The sci-fi movies we used to watch are slowly becoming a reality. I don't know what you sign. I don't know how the company will keep you frozen forever. But this whole thing, we freeze you, hoping that future technology can revive you. It's like, this is the best thing we have so far. Okay? We cannot promise anything besides keeping you frozen and let's see. So what if you pay 200K and get frozen, and then the future technology to revive you costs multiple millions? Maybe then you are rich enough to get cryopreserved, but not rich enough to get revived. A lot of questions here. What if the company goes bankrupt? Where are these freezers? But they promise we will try to wake you up. 200K per person. Amazing. What are the ideas we are missing? Maybe I need to go down in the U8 and get some empty bottles and close them and sell U8 air. As I said before, I can send it to people who want to live the thrill without the danger. But I'll end with the world is shit news. Apple decided to remove International Women's Day from the calendars. And it has been removed in many countries, including the US, Australia, and Finland. It seems that in some countries it's still there, but erasing International Women's Day, that's a pity move. That's a very low move. Because it's not just a date, right? It's a statement on gender equality, and that gender equality matters. And you can't just erase women's struggles and achievements. But these are part of the beautiful things coming from the US. Visibility fuels progress, and ignoring this day only reinforces the systems that silence women. So if you haven't noticed, you can have a look, depending on your country, if International Women's Day is still in your Apple calendar. Big middle finger to Apple for bending the knee, just like all of the tech oligarchs. And I think with this I will wrap it up. Thanks for listening in. This was episode 50, such a beautiful round number. Thanks for giving this a listen. Thanks for sharing for those who did. Write me a comment on Spotify if you're still around. That's something you can do. Tell me what's one idea, what's your $1 million idea, what's your cryogenic equivalent. Tell me if you think that tinfoil on Philadelphia spread should stay. Tell me from 1 to 10, how much do you clean your places before others come? And how much do you judge other places? Tell me your problems. I will solve them. Ask for life advice. I will answer your question, whatever it is, in the next podcast. Now a baby is crying, and I'll go do my duty. So until next week, ciao.